that I do not have an answer to. I don't, not yet. I mean, I can't even begin to speculate what is going on with these scanners and what kind of data they're collecting for their archives. Because this is about, collecting some kind of data. Oh, remember, they said, well, we're not saving any of these scans, none of these pictures. Oh, really? So what are these 30,000 online over here? These 100,000 that got released over here? What about these 10,000 over here? How are they getting online if you're not keeping the scans? Hey, the Federal Marshal Service seems to like the body scanners because they're starting to put them in some federal courthouses. Got to go to court? Can't get into court unless you're scanned. Don't want to be scanned? Oh, I guess you can't get into court. Don't go into court. You're going to be held in contempt. This is, they're going to get you one way or the other, folks. They want us to go through these scanners for a reason. They're thinking of every possible situation that they can put these scanners into play. Sporting events, going to go to the Super Bowl? Go through the body scanner. Now, you spent $250 for a ticket. You don't go through the scanner, you don't get to go in, and of course the NFL is not going to refund your money. They're forcing us through these things, folks, for a reason. Because if it was just about the money and buying them from different companies that manufacture them, there wouldn't necessarily be a push for us to use them, because how much stuff has the government bought before that they don't use very often or very well? It isn't about just purchasing them for money. I'm telling you, call me. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but you want to call me a conspiracy theorist on this one, you go right ahead. Because there's something insidious about to happen with these things. And they don't work as well as they're being touted. They're not necessary. And we're scanning the wrong people to begin with. Yeah, I'm very sure that little 8-year-old boy who got molested in the open was really a terror threat. But there is one thing that we have overlooked with this. Dude, what about the TSA agents? Well, frankly, there are some that are just loving this because they're just power mad, power hungry Neanderthals. But there are truly some, and here's a story from Tech Dirt. There are truly some that absolutely hate the new pat-down system. They find them disgusting and moral breaking. Now, understand this. Well, if you find it morally offensive, just on moral grounds, you need to quit your job. Now, this is one of those things that if you had enough people just saying either refusing to do it or quitting to do their job from doing this, that would also get the attention of the TSA, the higher ups. You don't have, Janet Napolitano doesn't have to do any of this. She doesn't have to stand in line all day long on an 8-hour shift touching people where people would rather not be touched. Now, just as a how can I put this? Just as a normal procedure, a normal police style on the street pat down. That's invasive and uncomfortable enough. If you have ever gone through that, either as a practice or in real life, then you will know that just the basic police pat down is not a very comfortable thing. I mean, after all, it's somebody, maybe not in your private or sexual spots, but it's somebody who's touching your body, who you really aren't giving, permission to do so. It's not a comfortable thing. So I can only imagine if somebody actually went down to touch my junk and saying they're doing it for my safety and security. Now, I can only imagine what some of these TSA agents are going through when it comes to that. They don't think about this for a second. Now, we've heard, some of the stories about TSA agents, targeting, beautiful young females or good-looking guys or that kind of thing, well-built guys. Well, what about those who aren't so good-looking? What about those who are obese? And there's a story, Tector talks about how some of these TSA agents, they can't stand doing pat-downs. I mean, because and some people, you got to actually get in under the fat folds. I mean, that's got to gross you out. And what about those people? Now, we've all been in a bus or a train or a plane or in some closed-confined spot where somebody just does not have any good body hygiene and they sink to high heaven. What about TSA agent who has to pat down that person? I can have a little bit of sympathy for some of the TSA people. I can have a little bit of sympathy for them. But if they don't like what they're doing, all they got to do is quit. So I guess I don't have that much sympathy for them. 347-426-3404. This is the Rod Eccles Show, and it is a special edition Open Mic Wednesday hump. Today, instead of Friday, the Thanksgiving holiday, and just about anything goes, so keep it clean, please. We're trying to keep it a little bit lighter for today. Although today is the day I do believe that they're going to do is scheduled for the opt-out day. And I know people want to get where they're going. And I know people, well, you know what? If there are some people who are trying to make our holidays or our commutes or our travel plans more difficult, I think it's about time, because they seem to increase this on an almost annual basis. It seems like every year it gets more they get more encroaching. It gets more delaying, time-consuming, and more cumbersome just to travel somewhere. So I think it's about time we give it back to them. I think it's about time that a number of people opt out and that they just sort of hold things up. And I know this is a big hope, that the other travelers will put some tremendous pressure on the TSA to stop this nonsense. I mean, because it really is, it's ridiculous. Because unless every single person goes through these scanners, what good is having? If you're gonna let even half the people, if you're gonna let even 20% of the people go, just not go through a pat down or a scanner, why have them? I'm thinking they should do more than just opt out. All passengers should force them, the TSA, to put them through these things. It's another way to stop this. I know Boston Logan's Airport is talking tough. Oh, the only delay is going to be for you. Oh, really? How about the other passengers? What happens if a person misses their plane because of the TSA? Anybody thought about that? What happens if you have a number of passengers who miss their plane, or a plane is delayed because of the TSA? This is the whole point. What happens if a plane is delayed from taking off because not enough passengers have boarded the jet due to the TSA? Has anybody asked that question? How are the airlines going to handle that? I mean, you're already seeing airlines giving passengers back, giving passengers refund on non-refundable tickets. And in some cases, even paying for a rental car to get them out of, away from the airport back home or wherever, an alternative method. But how are the airports going to handle it? They can't, airports are running on a thin margin as it is, or airlines. How are they going to handle that? How are they going to handle delays in the TSA? And how is the TSA going to handle private security firms from private airports that decide not to use the TSA, and these private security firms decide not to use the full TSA scanning procedure? What if the private firms say the same thing that some TSA agents say? We hate obese passengers and people with personal hygiene issues. This is from the Mail Online UK. It's funny how you get these kind of stories coming out of England about the United States. You can't find these stories here. The mainstream media is just that lame. You go to British newspapers and other foreign English-speaking papers to get news about the U.S. This is just a shame. But the report says staff complain about abuse while carrying out searches. Passengers brace for huge Thanksgiving delays. And there's even travelers that are talking about how they reveal how they dodge pat-down searches. I'm sure there's probably going to be a book online, many books online, available for $9.97 and $19.97 each, to tell you exactly how to avoid going through the scanners and being patted down. Hey, there are a couple of best-selling books that taught people how to avoid getting speeding tickets. One was even written by a New York State trooper. So why wouldn't there be books coming out pretty soon telling you how to avoid? It's probably going to be written by TSA agents. God, don't help me on that one. The TSA agents are saying, it's not comfortable to come to work knowing full well that my hands will be feeling another man's private parts, their butt, their inner thigh. I'm not a cop. Even worse is having to try and feel inside the flab rolls of obese passengers, and we seem to get a lot of obese passengers. Another TSA agent said he had a huge problem dealing with a large number of passengers. And they have he says there's a large number of passengers daily that have a problem understanding what personal hygiene is. Now, being a TSO, which is a transportation safety officer, means often being